Thank you for listening to this worship podcast of St. Andrew Lutheran Church. We hope this recording provides you with a moment of God's grace wherever this finds you. Know that you're welcome to join us in person for worship in Eden Prairie on Sunday mornings at 9 or 10:30. And also know that any contribution you make will bolster St. Andrew's ministry and outreach, including our podcasting directly to you. You can do so online. Welcome and God's blessings to you.
Hi, I'm Sandy Perkins here with a reflection on our St. Andrew Good Neighbor team walking alongside a refugee family from Afghanistan. Our team was formed in response to the desperate plight of refugees around the world, to love our neighbor as ourselves and to welcome the foreigner in our midst. I want to thank and acknowledge the team, Laura Considine, Pam Brandel, Kelly and Kim Lindquist, Shelley Luna, Elliot and Penny Meyer, Sherry and Steve Peterson. With Pastor Peter's leadership, our team was connected with Arrive Ministries, an organization that resettles refugees. Arrive provides initial refugee support, matches volunteer teams to refugee families, and supports and trains Good Neighbor teams. Arrive is a ministry that intentionally connects people of different cultures, fostering friendship and love. Our family includes dad and 4 children who are teenagers and young adults. Mom was ill and died in Afghanistan in 2020, and the family fled when Kabul fell to the Taliban in August 2021. The Taliban is ruthless in persecuting and attacking Hazara Muslims. Staying in Afghanistan would be a death sentence for the family. They endured a chaotic and frightening exit from the country, escaping in a cargo plane lifting off amidst explosions on the ground. After several months at a military base, they were resettled in Minneapolis. We met in November 2022. We found them to be exceptionally good people, educated, hardworking and resourceful, kind and generous, humble and faithful, open-minded, with a commitment to education and advancement for women and girls. They feel it is abhorrent that the Taliban and extremist groups use Islam and to justify acts of violence and oppression. The family chose safety over financial security, fleeing the country with little more than the clothes on their backs. Here in Minnesota, Dad is a manager at his workplace, well respected at work and in the community, a person of integrity and faith. 2 kids are in college and 1 in high school. Each family member bears invisible scars of trauma, manifest in various ways. At our first meeting, facilitated by Arrive and an interpreter, we accepted a dinner invitation at their home. In preparation, we read all the information about Afghanistan, culture, customs, and values, all the do's and don'ts. It was daunting. There were so many unknowns. What type of food will we be served? Will we be sitting on the floor? Will we be eating with our hands? And how could we possibly get through the evening without offending someone? As it turned out, we were served a delicious Afghan meal of rice and salad, lamb and bread. Elliot was impressed, saying, "How do they get the rice so tender?" To our relief, we all sat at the kitchen table, everyone using forks and knives. We spent a very delightful evening engaged in conversation with them, and if we did anything that offended someone, we were not aware of it, as they extended grace and warm hospitality. The next months were spent getting comfortable with each other, sharing meals, going on outings, taking the kids to special events. There's so many stories I could tell you. I'll give a few examples. Shelley hosted taco night, the whole team pitching in with food and a fun party. Steve made a special connection with Dad. Both are electrical engineers and both know the Russian language. We discovered how much we enjoy playing games together. It was Jenga and Uno that night. We found that fun and laughter transcend culture. Through time spent together, we came to know them well, and we came to love them like our own families. It was from this place of love and trust they allowed us to help with a variety of practical things. And miraculously, what God set before us matched the skills, the interests, and the attributes of the team. At our first meeting, we discovered that Kelly works at the school where two of the kids attend. A wink from God that this is the family for us. And Kelly helped with driving lessons in the winter on icy Minneapolis streets. Surviving without property damage or personal injury is an example of divine protection. Another God wink came when one of the kids had a medical problem, and Shelley knew a doctor friend with the very expertise that was needed. Laura helped with a variety of financial tasks, and she often experienced what we affectionately coined the rabbit hole effect. She would arrive with a plan of what would be accomplished, but end up doing something completely different based on what was needed. We learned that our type A, get it done, fix it culture did not serve us well. Many things could not be fixed. Lovingly bearing witness became our go to response. God was constantly teaching us to expect the unexpected and to respond with grace and love. Sherry helped with college papers, often reading an entire book overnight in preparation. Sherry says, I learned that writing papers for school isn't really a thing in Afghanistan, so learning to do that on the fly at the college level and in a foreign language is challenging to say the least. I enjoyed working with her so much. I'm very grateful that God led me to this opportunity to meet the family and get to know the members of our Good Neighbor team. My final example is outside the scope of the Good Neighbor team and came to be through our relationships with the family. Years prior, God was inspiring in Pam a desire to work with refugees and mentor a young person. Pam saw in the youngest daughter strong motivation to succeed and a desire to be an American girl, to immerse herself in the English language and her deep need for mothering, and responded as God had equipped her for such a time as this. Pam invited to live with her and attend Eden Prairie High School. Dad and agreed. Has become a beloved member of Pam's family, a welcome companion, especially following the death of Pam's son, Nick. Pam says, I always wanted 3 children. I never thought it would happen at age 73 when I had been living alone. Fareed enriches my life. And in fact, Fareed has the support of the entire team and even friends of the team. She is thriving, loving all of her moms, adjusting to her new school, gaining confidence, and getting straight A's. Dad is so pleased she is succeeding in this way. In closing, I'll tell you that being part of this team and seeing God at work through the relationships with each other and with the family has been inspirational and life-changing. Each person stepped up in faith and did the very thing that only they could do. God prepared and equipped each person for their unique and important role. God's perfect timing and planning was perpetually on display. We prayed constantly, trust God, walked in faith, and did the next right thing that God put in front of us. Living out faith in daily life, loving our neighbor and welcoming the foreigner. This is love in action, God's work with our hands and hearts.
Thank you for listening to this worship podcast of St. Andrew Lutheran Church. We hope that this recording provides you with a moment of God's grace wherever this finds you. Any contribution you make to St. Andrew will bolster our ministry and outreach, including our podcasting directly to you. You can do so online. Thank you for joining us for this podcast, and I wish you every blessing from Christ today.